What's up, scrubs? And this past few weeks, I've been trying my hand at Megalith, specifically the Block Dragon variant. And so I decided let's give see what the history of Megalith as an archetype is, just to give you a little background on what Megalith is trying to accomplish. So I've prepared a Google slideshow. Megaliths, visibly, are a bunch of statues. They look, to me, when I was first doing it, like chess pieces, but they really aren't. They're just statues, which I was very surprised to find out. And also, while digging, I found they are actually just direct ripoffs of the Olympian spirits. As you can see, we got Fool, Aratron, Bethor, you get the deal. I don't know what the hell their deal is, but that's like cool and stuff, I guess. Whatever. In any case, they didn't really ever have any particular meta capabilities in the TCG, any specific point in Master Duel either. They weren't super good, but they are a top tier meta threat in the NR format of Master Duel, which is a really, really cool and diverse format. You guys should check it out. But being that the Megaliths all come in a structure deck, literally every single member of the archetype, save for Aratron, is available in that format, making, a full power deck with crazy grind capabilities a very good contender for top 1, top 2, top 3 decks in the format. And their ability to wipe an entire board on your turn is unmatched in that format. Pretty crazy. And it was because of that structure deck that led me to playing them for the first time. When I just started playing Master Duel and I unlocked the structure deck, I just kind of played it a little bit on ladder because I thought they were cool. Didn't really know what they were doing, but just slapped a couple Manju of 1,000 hands in there and seemed like a pretty competent deck. I mean, Fool is a crazy card, after all. Anyway, the Megaliths are a series of rock and ritual art cards who benefit from all the benefits of being a rock and being a ritual. They get the support of just generic support from both of those, areas of play. But because of this, they are a quite confused archetype. A lot of the times when you're deck building, you don't really want to know if you want to go with a more combo-orientated playstyle or a more control playstyle. We are going with the I love the PowerPoint, it's so funny. We are going with the control playstyle, as shown by Adamantipator Researcher. The problems with the deck are... You didn't see that. Oh my god. The problems with the deck are it is very, very reliant on special summoning and doing that a lot. So anything that punishes or restricts your special summons, you're going to have a hard time dealing with. Furthermore, you need a lot of your effects to resolve. You can push through 1, maybe 2, but 3 and you are stuck. Sometimes the things on an ickier hands, just a single Imperm or Ash Blossom can shut down your entire combo and pretty much lose you the game. Finally, it bricks a hell of a lot. High-level monsters and rituals, you need to draw multiple parts. There aren't exactly one-card combos in here, so you gotta make do with what hands you're given. Alright. So, let's go into the ritual support that this benefits from. Well, they can't make good use of pre-preparation of rites because they do not have a singular archetypal ritual spell. Their ritual spell of choice is not only the monsters themselves, but also a quick play spell. They do benefit heavily from preparation of rites, as well as just Manju and Senju of the 1,000 hands. Preparation of rites will search anyone except for, the big 3, the big bunglisses, as I like to call them. It's just so nice to have that consistency booster to search something like an Ophiel or whatever. And Manju and Senju are pretty much the same thing, but they take up your normal summon. But since you don't really normal summon a whole lot anyway, they're pretty fantastic. And while in my build of the deck, we are running Prep Rights, we are unfortunately not running Manju and Senju, but don't feel bad about not running those, because those are perfectly fine in this deck. Furthermore, they gain access to Benten, the Diviner of the Herald, as well as Herald of Arclight, and other just generic good stuff rituals that you might see in other ritual decks like Drytron. Benten is just free rituals fodder that searches out your Diviner. Diviner's a normal summon which, just like Manju and Senju, gets you a search by sending an Arclight to the grave, but it's also a tuner for things like Barone plays, and it's just pretty neat. It's just great that this deck can benefit from stuff like that. Furthermore, Drytron. Drytron is an archetype that does mesh well with the Megaliths just by being rituals. Funnily enough, Ophiel can do stuff with just generic rituals as well, which is very kind of terrifying. I haven't ever experimented with Drytrons in Megaliths yet, but I plan to in the future at some point. And I gotta say, that is a pretty scary prospect. Although, it should be noted that Drytron is not the end-all be-all for best supporting archetype, just best ritual support when it comes to Megalith. Things like the Incantations, Manju Senju, Diviners, and Prep Rights just play too well with Megalith, where Drytron doesn't necessarily do so. The fact that the ritual spells in Megalith are the ritual monsters themselves, it doesn't play as well as you would think with Drytron. And finally, the Incantations. The Incantations are generally heralded as worse Drytrons in most scenarios, but the Incantations play very well with the Megaliths. Such so, in fact, that Chalice Slime is a one-card starter in some situations. It's just a fantastic supporting engine with this. And you can obviously run it at low rarities with things like Manju, Senju, and Incantations to go with your Megaliths, and you are just totally golden until you need to upgrade to things like Diviner, Arclight, whatever. Incantations play so well with this, and a lot of decks, it's kind of hard to mess around with the Incantations because they're a lot more restrictive than the Drytrons. But Megalith doesn't necessarily have this problem. And also, given that this is a rock archetype, and we are playing Master Duel, he is here. Block Dragon does make an appearance. He sure does. Anyway, let's get into some of the archetypes' names. Some that we use and some that we don't. Here is Bethor. He's your main interaction. All of the level 8 ritual monsters have the effect where you can send them from your hand to the graveyard in order to ritual summon a Megalith monster by attributing, ritual summoning. Equal or exceed its level, yada yada. This is great for getting your combo started. While it's not necessarily the best, something like Chalice Slime is better in most scenarios, you're probably going to want to do this. So, the other effect with Bethor is when it's ritual summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard and destroy them. You can pretty easily summon this on your opponent's turn, and you will probably have a decent amount of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard. You will pop a lot of cards. You will pop a lot. This is your best interaction in Megalith. Do not forget it. Next up is Auratron, the only member that is an SR, and there are no URs in this archetype. You'll have to look for other supporting archetypes to find URs. And not even Incantation, by the way. Incantation does not have any URs. Auratron has the same effect with Bethor, where you can send it from your hands to ritual summon, except it is a quick effect, which is pretty neat, because you can do that on your opponent's turn, do Bethor in a pinch. Generally, you'd prefer using Fool to summon Bethor, but Auratron works just as well. It's just not as good, technically, because its effect in the when it's actually summoned is not near as good as Bethor or Falleg, who we'll get to later. And it is just a negates any card effect that targets a card you control. It's like Stardust Dragon. And while that's not powerful, it's not as powerful as pop a whole bunch of cards or what Falleg does, which we'll get to in a bit. I still play too. It's generally very good to have the rituals in hand. That's an effect you want to be activating a lot of the time. It's just great extension, great stuff to do. You would like to, it'd be pretty good to draw this. Furthermore, if you end with this on your board on top of the rest of the stuff, it's nice to just protect things. In case your opponent, activates like Smashing Ground or some shit. Whatever. And then finally, Falleg. We only play one of this card because it is our closer. This card has the same tribute in hand to Ritual Summon effect, but it also has the effect where constantly while it is face up on the field, every single ritual monster, I believe. Let me read the card real quick. Yes, no, monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in your graveyard. And as we talked with Bethor, you will probably have a decent amount of rituals in your graveyard. This will pump up your monsters a lot, and you will OTK with this card. This is your OTK enabler. It is how you clean out games. Generally, what you want to do is pop their entire board with Bethor, next turn summon Falleg, and hit in for lethal. That is that is the formula in a vacuum. Anyway, these three cards are what I like to call the big bunglisses. Alright, moving on. We've got Ophiel. This is a level 4 combo piece. And the fact that it is a level 4 rock is very important, but we'll get to that later. All of the level 4 megaliths have the effect where you can, while they're on the field, ritual summon any ritual monster, which the fact that it's generic is kind of scary for, as I said earlier, Dragon Megalith. I shudder to think what you might be able to do with that. But they have to tribute the card that used to activate its effect. So for example, if you have a Haggith, let's use a name you've already know. If you want to summon Falleg, and you use Ophiel's effect to try to summon the Falleg, you have to tribute Ophiel and another monster who equal or exceeds 8. But Ophiel is the best one of these cards, the level 4s, because it, on summon, adds a Megalith monster from deck to hand. This is not once per turn. You can do this as many times as you can summon Ophiel. That is really fantastic, and it is part of your combo. A very easy way to start your combo is to Chalice Slime summon Candle, add Inception, and then Inception summon Ophiel, add Haggith. Speaking of Haggith, here he is. He's just Ophiel, but he adds a Megalith Spell Trap. Now, notably, the Megalith Spell Trap pool is considerably less deep than the Megalith Monster pool. You will always want to add a Megalith monster because it's so advantageous to have an Auratron in hand, because why not? Further things to do with a Fool or a Haggith or another copy of Ophiel even in hand, a Falleg maybe, whatever. Haggith, there's really only one card you want to search when you're talking about the combo variants, and even in the control variants, there aren't that many good Megalith spell traps. As such, it's not as good as Ophiel, but you definitely want to be triggering this as many times as you can, because just like Ophiel, the search effect is not once per turn. Notably, the effect to Ritual Summon is once per turn, which is why you might play this card, Oak, which, aside from not having the exact same tint background as the other two in the image database, which irritates the hell out of me, is kind of just a worse card as these two. It's the exact same, where you can Ritual Summon with its on field effects, but when it's summoned, you just draw one and discard one, which is not as good as adding from deck to hand a thing. But considering that the ritual effects are once per turn, sometimes you just want an extra one of those, and an extra name doesn't hurt, and you're never really going to need the third Haggith search, right? So you could play one if you want, which is what I did, because I think it looks cool. I mean, look at them. They're like two little children angel friends. I'm not sure. Whatever. These are the medium Bunglisses. Oh, let's get on forward to Fool. Aside from looking like a bad acid trip, this dude is probably the best ritual monster in the archetype. This weird cereal bowl looking motherfucker has the effect where you can ritual summon on either player's turn, once per turn, from your deck by tributing monsters that, I think it is, let me read real quick, from your hand or deck, by tributing monsters from your hand or field, whose levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. As you may imagine, ritual summoning from deck is crazy, but it's only level 2, so it doesn't provide for that much ritual material, right? You need to have stuff in hand. Well, that is incorrect. When you summon it, you get to add back a monster, a ritual monster, from your deck, from your graveyard, Jesus Christ, to your hand, right? First off, this is not exclusive to Megaliths. Again, scary for Drytron, but I still haven't even seen Drytron Megalith yet. But normally what you do is, because after you add that card back, this card's level becomes the level of the target. Now, if you send, for example, a Bethor to ritual summon an Ophiel, add Fool, then Ophiel effect to summon the Fool, tributing the Ophiel. Fool adds back Bethor. Fool is now level 8, and all of a sudden on your opponent's turn, you have a summon Bethor and pop 2 at the very least with the Fool and the Ophiel in your graveyard. Do you see how that starts to snowball out of control? And this is your enabler almost all the time for summoning Bethor on your opponent's turn. It is just crazy that this card exists. And the fact that it's level 2 lets you add it even more times off of Block Dragon sometimes. If you draw key Block Dragon search targets, then just add Fool. It's that easy. It's so good. It's just so good. And while we had the medium Bunglisses and the big Bunglisses, this is the biggest Bungliss. The biggest. He may look small, but he is the biggest in our hearts. On to the spell traps. There's really only one spell trap we play in this version, and it is Unformed. This is the only, well, it's not the only good one, but it's the only good one in this variant of Megalith. Unformed is kind of fucking ridiculous. It's like, just like the art implies with looking like Fool, this little LSD nugget, you didn't see that. This little LSD nugget, it has no once per turn, and it ritual summons from deck. Now, notably, this is, you have to tribute monsters that equal exactly twice the level of the monster that you are trying to ritual summon. That kind of blows, but I mean, summon Ophiel, add Haggith. Ophiel, summon Haggith, tribute Ophiel. Haggith, add Unformed. Unformed, tribute Haggith, add Fool. It's that easy. You know? It's just crazy. And a card that ritual summons from deck was allowed to not have a once per turn is just ridiculous. And also, it has another effect where you can make your opponents lose attack until the end of the turn, which is unequivocally worse than the other effect. But I guess sometimes it could help you OTK if you just really need that extra boost and they have, I don't know, an attack position monster or some shit. Weird. Anyway, Komamni, we're once per turn. That's all I have to say. There are some other good cards that are not being played in this build because mainly they just compete for resources with Block Dragon, and it just doesn't work. Chief among these is Megalith Portal, an all-star of the NR format. This gives your Megalith monsters battle protection one time per turn, which is a little nice sometimes, because sometimes you just get run over, even though all of the Megaliths have huge asses. You just kind of need it sometimes, I guess, but the main thing is if you special summon a Megalith monster, you can target one ritual in your graveyard, add it to your hand, which is, once again, terrifying for Drytron Megalith. But for Block Dragon Megalith, that just means that you're getting less monsters in your graveyard for things like Block Dragon, for Bethor, and for Fall Egg, and thus we just don't play it in a control style format, a control style deck of this with just Manju and stuff like this. This is a fantastic Haggoth search target, just to run at 1 even, but it just doesn't work with this version of the deck. And just like that, we also have Emergence, which is the same thing but a continuous trap. Well, not the same thing, but once per turn, you can summon a Megalith monster in your graveyard and place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. Great for recurring resources, just like Portal, gives you immense grind game. It contends with resources with Block Dragon and other stuff, and it's just not worth it, especially because it's also a trap, and we want to combo the hell off on our first turn. We don't have time for trap cards, as long as they aren't infinite impermanence. These two I'm going to be labeling not combo stinky. There's also another trap card, I believe, called like Promotion, which like doubles the level of a Megalith monster you control, which is, I guess, neat for like unformed stuff, but it's just not even good. Whatever. Him. It's Block Dragon time, motherfuckers. This dude, it's kind of just appalling that he is still legal. I mean, he's so good in Adamancipator and Fossils, even in just any strategy that uses any amount of rocks. It's just crazy. And the fact that you also use level 4s so you get access to Gallant Granite to search it out is fantastic. And you also have things like Researcher, which is just a free special summon, and a Tuner, which enables things like Summon Block Dragon, link off the Block Dragon for like Cross Sheep or something, add Researcher off of Block Dragon alongside like Fool and Ophiel, I think, is a combination you can do. And then just summon back the Block Dragon, summon Researcher, make Barone, and search shit again. It's just wild that you can do this. Who allowed this to happen? Why is this allowed? This is criminal that you can do this, and the fact that rocks are allowed to be this fucking powerful. It kind of just makes it hard to justify not playing Block Dragon in a Megalith deck. And finally, this is what an end board I found mostly looks like. You get a Bethor Pop Everything, which starts off as a Fool, but ritual summons into Bethor on the opponent's turn. A Barone Negate, because it's Barone, why not? I've also seen people play Dragite, but I didn't have Dragite, and I didn't want to spend money on it, UR points on it, when I could just make Barone. Simple as. And also, when I could get the extra material, which I could most of the time, make an Apollosa, which had 2 or 3 materials. Not the best Apollosa, but it's still multiple monster negates on top of Barone and Bethor, which is just turn-ending on their owns. Game-ending on their owns, even. And furthermore, sometimes you would get slowed down enough by Ash Blossoms and stuff where you just couldn't get the materials on field, so you would just make an IP Masquerena, and then once you activated your full effects to pop your stuff with Bethor, link off the Bethor with the IP to make a Unicorn, and that is extra interaction on its own. Which, you'll notice that these are incredibly strong end boards for Master Duel. Many people cannot deal with this unless they have things like, I don't know, Lava Golem. Which, if they have Lava Golem, I guess good games, dude. Shit. You know? Whatever. that's gonna be it for now. We'll see you in the deck profile. Alright guys, welcome back to the deck list. Here, we've got, immediately starting off with the card I never mentioned in the PowerPoint. This card is hilariously useful in this deck actually. Weeping Idol, it's just a rock level 2, which you can special summon by banishing a tuner from your graveyard. As for tuners, we only play Diviner and Researcher, but this has some varying usage in this deck. Not only is it extension by use of special summoning, it's a target to add off of Block Dragon as well, and it's a fantastic small world bridge. We are playing 3 small worlds to bridge hopefully into something like Diviner or even, where is he? Chalice Slime, but we don't really have a bridge into that, so instead we do something like Pensaplume, which Idol bridges not only into Diviner, into Pensaplume, but also into any Megalith, any at all. It also bridges, I guess, into Researcher, but we're never going to do that because, you know, we want to search that of Block Dragon. Speaking of, it also bridges into Block Dragon. This card bridges into everything except for, I believe, Chalice Slime. Literally just Chalice Slime, I think. It only does not bridge into Chalice Slime. Yeah. This card is a crazy bridge. And it's also just extension. And it's also great for, what's it called? One thing you can do, instead of going into Barone with Researcher, you can go into something like Coral Dragon or into Borreload Savage, and this card is great for hitting the level requirements for that. For example, Researcher plus Ophiel makes Coral Dragon, but if you can, Weeping Idol plus Researcher plus Ophiel equals Borreload Savage, which is considerably better for an end board. It's just a great little utility monster, and I just love that he's so useful. Diviner of the Herald is our normal summon. We normal summon it, send Arclight, or I guess if we really don't need it, send Entis to pop one of their monsters, which you sure can do. It's something you can do. But this is just a fantastic normal. We don't have a effect for the card if it's tributed, which, I gotta be honest, there's probably something that you could do with that effect, but I didn't look too hard into it, because I didn't really need it. I know a lot of the time you play like Hanawata or some other like tuner to summon with like Trias, Hierarchia, but we are not running that package at all. Researcher, the only Adamancipator in this entire deck. The actual Adamancipator effect to excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. The only possible effect you can hit with, the only possible card you can hit with that is Weeping Idol. And I never hit it. It's just for the funnies, you know. If you hit it, and then you get an extra body. However, it's just a tuner, a rock level 2 tuner that can special summon itself, which is all that you could ever want, really. Ash Blossom, because it's Ash Blossom. Pensaplume. I don't really like this card a whole lot, but you just need to play it. I cut it at one point, and the deck was just a little bit too bricky, and sometimes it's annoying to get off the field so that you can summon out of your extra deck. But you need to play it because you really want stuff like Candle and Talismandra, and you wish you could just rely on Chalice Slime, but you just can't. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. You need Pensaplume. Candle for searching exactly Inception, which is great. Talismandra for searching any ritual monster. Block Dragon. Fool. Ophiel, Haggith. We're only playing 2 because I'm doing the third as an Och. Och is not optimal, but I'm having some fun with it because I think it looks cool, and I want a third potential activation name with ritual summoning on my field with the level 4 Megalith rituals. Fuck you. Ben 10 is just free ritual material that can search your Diviner. Chalice Slime is crazy, can summon either Talismandra or Candle from the deck to get their searches, plus it's also ritual fodder. Fall Leg is your OTK enabler. Bethor is your main Megalith, your main in-archetype interaction, I guess is the right word to say it. Oratron is great for that hand discard effect, and it can also sometimes summon Bethor in a pinch. Whatever, it's just a good card. Prep Right searches anything short of Oratron, Bethor, and Fall Egg, which is crazy, you may recognize. And also sometimes can add Inception back, which is rarely useful, but very funny. We're only playing one extra Foolish Burial because, I mean, it's not as good as, like, Diviner, but sometimes you want 2 of those, and it's once per turn, so we might as well play 1, you know? It's just another way of unbricking yourself, which, with a Ritual deck, is always needed. 3 Small World for Weeping Idol shenanigans. Inception to tribute over your Candles, your Talismandras, and sometimes your Pensablooms, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Called by because Ash Blossom and Maxi fuck your ass to death. Unformed is kind of nuts, and it is our only search target off of Haggith. Extra deck, Entis to pop when you send it off of Diviner. 2 Arclights to search when you send it off of Diviner. Coral Dragon is just a good level 6 synchro when you need it, a level 8 synchro in Borreload Savage, and a level 10 synchro is Baronne de Fleur. Gallant Granite to search out Block Dragon. Zombie Empire, because I love it, and why not have a rank 8? Zeus, because we have monsters that are, they're Xyz. IP Masquerena for when you just can't get an Apo on board. Cross Sheep, because we're playing a Ritual deck. Dark, I'm going to be honest, I'm not quite sure why this is here, but you can summon it off of Weeping Idol, I guess, and steal one of their monsters. Whatever, you have room in the extra. Maybe I could play Pot of Prosperity in this. Nah. Unicorn to summon off of IP. Apollosa is crazy. Axis Code for when Fall Leg just isn't enough. And that's the list, guys. See you in the duels. Alright. Let's see if this will be a game. Oh, that's a hand. That's a pretty good hand. First off, let's prep. Let's prep right. And let's add Ophiel, I believe is the correct target here. Yes. Ophiel. Then we will Pensiplume, reveal the Ophiel, summon the Pensiplume, summon Candle, add Inception, tribute the Candle in order to summon the Ophiel. Then the Ophiel adds us Haggith. Then let's Inception to get the Pensiplume off our field. We don't want it there. We'll summon Talismandra. Add back the Inception. Talismandra adds us... I mean, what's a good add here? Benten? Why not? Then let's Inception. Summon Haggith. Tribute Talismandra. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Haggith. Why did I just do that? I totally meant to... Okay, whatever the fuck am I doing? Ah! That was supposed to be yes. I could have gotten unformed, but I just didn't because No. I would not like to go plus, please. I would not like to do the correct thing. But we get Gallant Granite and get Block Dragon anyway, so we win the game. Problem. We do not have near enough rocks in rotation to get Block Dragon going. I think what we have to do right now is normal Ash, make Cross Sheep. Which is a bizarre thing, but it's all because I fucked up and didn't add Unformed. Whatever, this is fine. Now we can block Dragon by banishing our Grave. Summon Blocky Boy. Yeah, sure. Link into Unicorn. For no effect. Block Dragon. Add Researcher. Fool. And Ophiel. What's this grave thing? Oh, it's another block. Well, let's Bethor to summon Ophiel, tribute Ben 10. There's the Ophiel summon. Ophiel, chain Ben 10. Alright. We unfortunately cannot normal the Diviner because I had a normal Ash, which is just disheartening, but we've still got this. We've definitely still got this. We get Auratron here. We Researcher to special. We Ophiel. Summon Fool, tribute Ophiel. Boom. Time for a bad trip, as it were. Add back Bethor. Will we hit the Weeping Idol, guys? Inshallah. Yes! Oh my god! That's the first time I have ever hit Weeping Idol off of this. Oh, I'm the best duelist of all time. Literally, in like weeks of playing this deck, I never hit Weeping Idol off of that. That is so funny. Wow. Okay. We can make Herald, which is also any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead, which is... And it's also like a spell trap. It's just an Omni Negate as well. I could just do that. What is block here? How many materials? 1, 2, plus 1 in hand, which would be Bethor. I mean, that's not terrible. We also do have Orange. Okay. Okay. What do we prioritize here? We can make Apollosa. We can make Herald. Or we could make Barone. I think Apollosa is probably our best bet. No. Don't do that. No, I just made the exact same mistake twice in a row. Fuck, I can't do that. I can't. I cannot do that. Let's block. Block. Oh, I could get another Fool trigger. I forgot about that. Let's summon Agith. Why not? Right? Sure. Tribute block? Tribute Auratron. There we go. Haggith, add me an Unformed. A little late, but still there. Make me bar on the floor. And then you two make IP one, two, three. I've got another block in me. I will never stop blocking. Gotta beat the timer though. Ooh. Okay, we did it. We did it. Oh, 3 Mad Appo, called by Unformed, Fool into Bethor, and Barone. Oh. I did lose games to the timer while I was playing this deck, for sure. That did happen. Oh. We also did it backwards by making Unicorn, but that's because I forgot to add Unformed. Oh, wow. Oh. Now my heart's pounding. I don't think he can stand up to this, though. He's got to have exactly Lava Golem or Ra, or Santa Claus, I guess. Even a Kaiju wouldn't do it. Well, Kaiju plus, like, Lightning Storm would do it, I guess. Or multiple Lightning Storms. Oh, you can only Lightning Storm once per turn, can't you? Lightning Storm plus Raigeki would kill me. But he is currently just sitting here staring at me. It's your move, Fire. That's what I fucking thought. That's what I fucking thought. That's what I thought. This is the greatest deck of all time. This has been Block Dragon Megalith trying my hand. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the lack of Fire Emblem content recently, specifically. It's exam week, and during weeks where I'm not at school a lot of the time, or where I am at home, I am studying, or crying, it's just a lot easier to make Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. So, that's what I'm doing right now, alright? But soon Fire Emblem will be just as back, and, well, until then, see you in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please watch the other video featuring the replays if you want to, you know, see more of Block Dragon Megalith in action. See you guys. Bye.